for Economic Cooperation and Development. I majored in communications and minored in political science. My daily routine was a little bit scattered. Every day I got on and I had to check the emails and update our database with journalists that wanted to get news from the OECD, and I had to respond to their questions, so they might ask about some statistics we released and I'd have to go research that and send them an answer. But my tasks changed all the time. The things that I did that I liked the most, like for example in the first month, we had a ministerial conference. So we had ministers come from all over the world to get together at the OECD and discuss different economic issues. And so I put together a book, it's called A Who's Who. So I contacted the delegates and I got down their information, their biographies, and their pictures, and I put it together in a book, and then we sent those out to all of the delegations. Then during the ministerial conference, I took care of our Flickr account because the OECD is trying to be more up to date on social networking sites and things like that, so we updated our Facebook and our Twitter and our Flickr to let people know what was going on at the forum. So I took care of the Flickr because I have done photography. I worked at the newspaper here at BYU, and I told them I did that as a photographer, so they were really excited to have me do the Flickr. So I went around, I organized the photographers, and I sent people to all the different things that we need to take pictures of, and then sometimes I even took pictures myself. And actually that was my favorite thing I think that I did at the OECD was photography, because I got to go to a lot of meetings that otherwise I wouldn't have been privileged to go to. One of the most interesting for me is we had the World Organization for Engineering come and met with our Secretary General at the OECD, and I got to go in there. There was only about 6 people in the meeting, so I was right there. I was taking pictures and got to listen in, and it was fun because my husband is doing engineering, so it was really interesting to me to hear about the engineering crisis that we're facing and how countries are trying to get more engineers to build their economies up and stuff. So a lot of the best opportunities came from photography, which actually is something I did on the side, not even involved in my major, but I told the OECD I could do that, and they turned that into a great opportunity for me. Obviously being able to attend all of the ministerial, I didn't get to attend all of the ministerial meetings, but I got to attend a lot of them in the press conferences. One exciting thing was Israel was admitted to the OECD over the summer, and that was actually a really big subject because the Palestinians were really upset about it, so we had a lot of protests at the OECD, so it was pretty exciting to be in the midst of all that. And I got to meet Prime Minister Berlusconi from Italy and Benjamin Netanyahu from Israel, and I got to meet presidents and prime ministers from all of the different countries, so that's really a neat opportunity. Before we decided to get married, I told my husband that I really wanted to do a study abroad or an internship in Paris, and he said, you know, we'll make it work. And so I went in, I told them that I was married and if it was possible to do that, and they assured me that there have been people who did it, so we went ahead and went for it. Fortunately, we stayed with a French family, so he had people to speak with, he got to learn the language, he made a lot of friends, he went and played basketball with the local ward members, and he went and visited different towns and stuff like that. I mean, he had plenty of stuff to keep him busy, and then we got to go traveling. Actually, I think it was so much better because I had my husband there, because I mean, when you go to visit a city like Rome and you've got your husband with you, I mean, it's 10 times the experience that it would be if you were single, because it's really romantic, you have someone to talk about it with, and he's in my pictures, it's not just me in front of monuments. And so I really recommend to married people to do that, because it can also give us a chance to, you know, get away from everything that we knew and were familiar with, you know, in-laws and school and everything, and just the two of us really built our relationship over the summer. And it was, you know, a totally new experience for both of us. So we got to experience it together, and I thought that was really neat. We were really surprised at how much aid we were able to get in terms of how much financial aid we were able to get, because I had a scholarship, and spring and summer scholarships are actually really easy to get at BYU because not a lot of people apply for them. So we got a scholarship for spring and summer to cover all of my tuition fees, so that was taken care of. And then we also got a Pell Grant because we're married and so we don't really have a lot of money. And the Pell Grant paid for both of our plane tickets over. So then we lived with a family that I had met a couple years ago, and my husband helped them with renovations on their house and with their kids. So in return, we didn't have to pay rent and they fed us. So really we didn't have any costs that we had to pay from day to day. We only had to pay for extra excursions that we took together to Rome and Barcelona, and then we went out to a lot in France. Because I mean, you gotta try the French cuisine, that's one of the things. I mean, I love France, and so I have to say that if you're going to go to one country, it's got to be France. But the most astounding single moment for me was seeing St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, and that was just breathtaking. Honestly, I walked in and I just could not believe that such man-made beauty existed. It was so astounding to both of us. So Rome, I mean, can't go wrong. We were only there for a weekend, but we could have stayed there longer. Everything was good. The food was good. The ice cream was unbelievable. I mean, that's not even a myth. It's so true. And the sights were incredible. The history of it, I mean, they're still using the same aqueducts that the Romans used. It's full of history, full of character, full of life. It's an awesome city. I would definitely recommend it. I would say be prepared to do a lot of office work if you go to the OECD, because it's a big organization. They've got a lot of secretarial work that they need done, and they're going to pass that off onto the interns. That's just going to happen. So be prepared for that, but I recommend it because of the experiences that you'll have outside of the internship, and also some of the rare experiences you'll be able to snag if you can get involved more in the OECD.